Hi everyone, welcome live with our CEO Andreas. Hi Andreas, how are you doing?
Hi Sylvie, I'm good. A little anxious.
No, everything will be fine. So today we're ready here with you to answer your questions and to talk about some features of magicplan. So perhaps someone is new and doesn't know all the feature or all the possibilities that you have within the app. So if you have any questions, write them down in the comments. We will, of course, answer them during these 30 minutes of live video. But I would say, let's start perhaps with the first topic, a beautiful feature that magicplan offers, which is called custom attributes, which is a great tool to manage your equipment. So perhaps Andreas want to tell you something more about it.
First of all, I actually want to clarify my anxious comment because you don't know it, but maybe during our recording, like the table jumps, and that is because the building next door is going to be demolished right now. So Sylvie and I were preparing, and we are not quite sure whether there is something bigger happening or it's just this building. So other than that, I'm excited because custom attributes, what we want to talk about today, is basically one of my favorite elements or little tools that you can have. Why is that so? So, I mean, coming back from the experience as project manager, kind of the key issue is when you miss anything on site that you actually wanted to gather, any type of information and so on and so forth. And that's kind of like the most annoying bit. And with those custom attributes, we basically help you to kind of make sure that all the information that you want or anything that you capture on site is going to be recorded. So what am I talking about? Picture you're in a room where you have your four walls, and for you and your business, it might be crucial what type of wall it is, right? Is it brick? Is it plaster? Is it drywall? Is it whatnot? And you have basically this opportunity of saying, okay, I need to know and I need to have like a specific label, what type of wall this is. Sylvie is just showing it to you. And you can actually configure this for everything throughout the app, like whatever the point of interest is it a physical object? Is it more kind of like logically a room? You can configure the individual questions or attributes that you want to have answered. And that way you make sure that you record that every time you are on site. Or that's like this big secondary element to it. Maybe you are running a business and you just want to make sure that all of your staff records that info. I mean, the most critical time is possibly when you have new staff or when people are in training. You basically give them a guideline. And that is kind of like this key element, which I think is really helpful. And then, I mean, that's obviously kind of added through, with magicplan, you are on site and you kind of like capture your surroundings, right? So you do that and you basically are able to process this instantly. So when you make sure that you have all your questions and that you have all your custom attributes, as we call them, but this is a general problem that we have at magicplan. We speak incredibly technical custom attributes. Right?
To manage your equipment.
Yeah, to do whatever you want with it, but custom attribute feels like really super technical. But get the info that you need, right? And you want to get it like while you are on site. You want to get it kind of like in real time, and especially you want to get it the first time you're there, because nothing more annoying than you go back to the office or you kind of like drive off site, send the plan away, and then the back office calls you and says, hey, what about X? And you, shoot, I forgot about it, and then you need to go back. So that is one of kind of the experiences I had early on in my career. Okay, Sylvie is just showing us, I mentioned you can do actual physical objects, but you can do also something more like your client name, whatever. That you really can adapt the info that you want to have gathered there. So this overall, I'm jumping around a little bit, is like the custom attributes that we have reworked and made more accessible and easier to configure. And that is something that I really highly recommend looking into. Maybe stepping back, talking to our customer success team. There can be some best practices, or we can share some info that we have from people in kind of like similar or relevant fields, and to then really make it specific to your company, to your use cases. How can I get the info that I need on site while I'm there first time, real time?
Yeah. And it's also amazing because you can decide where to apply it. So we showed it in all rooms, the one with the water damages, or project level, or also attached to a specific object category, which is depending on your needs.
Yeah, you're leading to this bigger picture of like, how do we actually store the info? And there we have a really hierarchical structure that makes it easy to access later on, but that may be actually a separate session that we should do about that. But key element is you can basically specify whatever you feel is necessary for your business to capture and to get to know while you're on site. So, yeah.
Okay.
Full stop.
Perfect. I believe that it was pretty clear to understand. Okay, so custom attributes is also like one of the features that we launched in the last month, but it's not, of course, the only thing. We also have a new object library, or renewed, let's say. And what is the thought behind changing it, Andreas?
Yeah, I mean, I gave the excuse already away. We think quite technical, and also for this one, to be honest, it's mostly a technical reason. But we thought we'd take this opportunity to basically do a little bit of a cleanup. The object catalog has been evolving over, let's say, 10 years now, and we wanted to kind of like simplify it a little bit and make it a little bit more buttoned down. Modern, yes. Cleaner and clearer, to be honest. That is my perspective. We also kind of like made sure that we have all the objects in 3D. That's something that we had to catch up a little. And overall, that is kind of like our new object catalog. The object catalog is a little bit of a particular thing because there can never be enough objects. There is always going to be the case where you want that one other thing. So this is a little bit of a tricky topic because there can never be enough, and like infinity is hard to reach.
Yes.
So, but we made that effort, and we also know, and the community has spoken to us, like some people don't like it that much. Whatever, they've grown accustomed and attached to the old objects that we have, and we didn't throw them away. Okay, so if you need them, and we're going to show you something just in a couple of minutes, couple of seconds.
Yes,
we still have them at hand. Reach out, ask customer success. We can help you there. We don't want you like being sad because you miss your cozy fireplace.
Yes.
Going forward. So
and also, Andreas, you mentioned that we hear the community, which is really like that. And now it is possible to mirror the asymmetrical object. We got this request for, I believe, weeks. So now if you take, for example, this L-shaped sofa, which is one of the new objects, you have the option here to mirror the object. So now we have that, which is great, I believe. But if someone doesn't find the object that he or she needs, we also have an amazing tool, which is our custom object manager. Andreas, what are the main advantages of using the custom object manager?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the mirror, that's why we did the technical cleanup, so that's something that makes it easy. So that's cool. Custom Object Manager, well, basically that's the extension of the custom attributes, right? So when we spoke about, okay, I want to have individual info on a specific topic, object, whatnot, the extension is, okay, you can actually populate the plan with your custom objects, and they can have all the custom attributes that you want. So as I said, there can never be enough objects. There are some super specific use cases, which it is a little bit tricky for us to support kind of like from the get-go. But we introduced the possibility to now have your own custom objects. To be honest, it's something that we have done historically on the back end with customer success. We have some long-standing customers there who make use of this kind of like at a massive scale. But we wanted to support that because we recognize that with those objects that, again, really tailor magicplan to your needs and can make the tool so much more worthwhile. So what are some historic use cases that maybe you think are interesting and can picture the possibilities there? So we have an international healthcare company. And what are they basically doing? They're using magicplan to map out existing hospitals and then see if their kind of like X-ray machines or whatever, their like heavy, big equipment is actually fitting the hospital. And then also they are testing it for radiation and stuff. So that is like one far end, what you can do with it. But on the other hand, we also have kind of like cabinet builders that do outfitting of basements and so on and so forth. And again, they have their object, brought them into magicplan, and now can quickly on-site do like a specific planning, do exactly the room shape and dimensions that they find, all on their tablet while possibly talking to the customer and basically simultaneously leaving out a quote. So that is possible with the custom object manager, and I believe Sylvie, you're going to show us a little bit on how this is going to work.
Yes, so we have already here a collection, which I call Sylvia Object 1. So if you want to create a new one, you start with create collection, you give it a name, and you're ready to go. Otherwise, you just go on edit. And here we can do create custom object. I hope it's big enough. Let me zoom in a bit more. Okay, we can call this object coffee table, because it's a coffee table that I'm going to create. So here we go. Okay, it's a floor object, yes. Metric, you can also decide to use imperial, up to you. And here we do, okay, resizable, save and preview. And now we can go ahead. We can upload the 2D view of our object. Let me go in my SVG folder. So here I have it, coffee table SVG. And here we go. And I also have the OBJ file, so we can upload it, so we can see the object also in 3D in the app. Then we can do save and preview. Okay, you see it here. So from the top, it will look like this. And if we go on 3D, then you will have your table. Okay, then we can go back to our list. We can make sure that it is published to the app. So here we go. Publish to the app, yes. Okay, now we have it work like a charm. Then we can take a look. Let me, just for safety, refresh the app. So all the updates will be there. Okay, up to date. Let's take here our room with the objects. So we select the room. We can go here on insert object. Then we look for our category, Sylvia Object 1, and voila, here we go. Coffee table, we can select it. We put it, let's say here, near our L-shaped sofa. Then we can go on 3D, and voila, there you go. It worked.
Nice, cool. And I mean, a little bit of info on those SVG and OBJs. I think there are many tools out there that help you convert your files, that they're also kind of like stock or public libraries where you can look for something that is more kind of like specific to your needs. But again, we can also help you in that process. So please reach out to the customer success team if you have kind of like something specific that you need to clarify.
Yes, correct. We are always here, ready to help.
And who is also always there? We just had a question in the magicplan community, I believe late last week, where someone was actually using the custom object manager and had a little issue that it was not displayed correctly. So this, in terms of when you create your OBJs, you need to make sure that basically the offset is nil, right? And in that case, kind of like there was an offset, so the center point was off, and then obviously that got pushed through the app. But for this, pay attention. Sylvie just showed you have like the top-down view, and you have a preview already when uploading the object. And I'm just assuming like use the 3D preview as well, because this is like super easy to then spot, okay, oh my God, that didn't work out. And then you don't kind of like get frustrated updating everything, possibly already leaving, going on site, and then eventually it's off. So kind of like in terms of creating your custom objects, I think there are lots of tools out there. Let's see, maybe AI can help us there as well. And you have the custom object manager, which is really helpful in terms of kind of like guides you visually through, and you have like this little test room right there to make sure that the upload worked well.
Correct. So you cannot, let's say you're not wasting your time. You know right away if it's working in 3D also, or if you have to upload a new OBJ file.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you can go wild. But I mean, what's the topic there? And you see it from the way we display stuff. I mean, we are kind of like very deliberate about supplying a baseline of objects, and we are happy to support any use case, but don't expect that this is going to be the perfect 3D animation, right? It's really about the structural stuff, kind of like, does it fit, does it collide? Like, those are some of the elements that we can support. It's not going to be your super high definition rendering. That's also why we limit the size a little bit. That is just kind of like one word of caution, so that you don't get all too worked up. The kind of like glare of your golden base is not perfect.
Okay, perfect. So Andreas already mentioned the magicplan community, because we saw this comment from a user that was struggling with this specific object. So I would say, let's say something about our magicplan community. Perhaps it's new to a lot of new users.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, basically, what did we talk about today? We talk about customizing the app. So that is putting effort in there and actually getting into the dirt yourself. And like sometimes it's good to go all the way your own. Sometimes it's easy to reach out to customer success, but sometimes you also want to see, okay, is someone else struggling with the same topics, or do you have ideas around the same issues? And to make that connection as direct as possible, we basically introduced the magicplan community, where we give a little input from our end and say, hey, what are the newest features, newest options, and whatnot. But where we also strongly support, we have a lot of really expert users out there that do their very individual applications and use cases of the app. And we want to further that exchange between those who are interested and have a really direct peer-to-peer conversation there.
Okay, so you can see here a bit, I zoomed in our magicplan community. So feel free to take a look on the left side menus. You have all the options that you can maybe need, some resources, some e-learnings. We have a lot of short videos explaining features of the app. So this could be useful sometimes. And what else? Let's see. Oh, you can also, well, it's a beautiful tool or a beautiful page, because you can also discuss topics with other users. Perhaps it's late at night, we're all sleeping, so you have a question, perhaps there's another user that can answer it, right? It could be an option.
Hopefully magicplan doesn't keep you awake for too long.
Okay, so we have a question from Jillian. Hi, first of all. So for restoration, what is the advantage of custom forms versus attributes, or vice versa?
Kind of like, I think it's a little bit different in the thought process. When you have a custom form, you basically want to have like a multitude of questions answered, and that's how you set it up and how you do it. And with the custom attributes is really more kind of like tied down what you see on site, and really more specific to that individual objects, right? So I think there is a little difference in that, kind of like conceptually. Effectively, there's not much difference, right? But the attributes really live with the object, and the form kind of, they live with the form. So that is kind of like on a more abstract level the difference. But then again, in effect on how you use it, there's not much difference. With the release of the custom attributes, we support some different types of answers and some different fields that might be helpful, and we gave a little bit more flexibility in this regard there.
Okay, perhaps it's also better because you have it right away. You don't have to open, let's say, an extra window if you want to use the custom attributes instead of custom forms. Okay, Jillian says, thank you. Can I use the app offline while working on site?
Yes, obviously. I mean, to make sure that all of your changes are in the app, just as Sylvie just showcased, like she pulled refresh. But after that, and that hopefully you do while you're in the office still, you can use the app fully offline, do everything, and then kind of like sync when you're back in the office or when you're back with better connection.
Okay, so in general, I also tried it myself when when I was on site offline, and it worked. So normally it should work flawlessly. Okay, do we have any other questions about whatever you would like to know? Something about custom attributes, about the community, about anything that you would ask to Andreas?
The building next door is still standing.
Yes.
And we are still sitting here.
And they stopped, I believe. They stopped working because I cannot hear any sound anymore. So we started the live with the table jumping because of the construction site near us, but now it looks better. Okay.
Construction site and YouTube questions are getting quiet.
So we still have 11 people with us. Do you have any questions for Andreas in the last, let's say, 5 minutes of our live? Let's see. Because then sometimes we always have get questions when we are offline, and there is always someone asking. I would ask the CEO, and now he's here, and you're not asking.
Yeah, I mean, on this one, I just encourage, sit back for a second, think, what is it that kind of really drove you nuts in the past? And maybe consider having exactly this as a custom attribute in your site visits. That is the experience that I had early on. Whenever I forgot something, I said, okay, I need to add it. And that way you really can make sure that for the next time, or if someone else goes, you have everything captured while you're there, and not remember the half hour thereafter when you're home, and don't want to get going again. Cool.
Because, I mean, sometimes people think, okay, the app is developed in an office, but it's really developed to be useful on site. It's not it needs to be a very practical tool.
The pain is real if you have to go back through traffic 1.5 hours. That you remember.
Okay, so we have some questions. Ruan, hi Sylvia, hi Andreas, hi. Is it possible to adjust the thickness of the walls individually? Do you want to answer or should I answer?
We can both answer. Let's see who has the better answer. This is one of kind of like the evergreens. No, it's not possible to adjust the thickness of the walls individually. There are some kind of like workarounds where if it's a really thick structural beam, that you can use a filler wall to do it. And you can obviously have the overall wall thickness that you can set. But other than that, wall by wall, that's not something that's currently supported.
Okay, perfect. Then we have here, I've been a long-term user of Xactimate. I know that you guys have an integration now, but how stable is it?
Okay, by stable, I'm not 100% sure what you mean, but I mean, what is the...
Maybe reliable, be?
Yeah, I mean, what's the general flow again? So basically, magicplan, capture on site, instant, edit, and then you're done. And basically, in the moment when you're there, you can have a connection and upload it to magicplan. And in terms of kind of like transfer stability or whatnot, I mean, there shouldn't be an issue other than whatever your Wi-Fi, your network provider. And then in terms of data that is transferred, I mean, we've been live since 12 weeks now. And we obviously have ongoing attention to this, but there's kind of like no structural problems in terms of does it transfer all the data and so on and so forth. And if something comes up, I mean, please do notify us, but that's not something that we have encountered at large so far. We are kind of like in-house and also with external partners testing it constantly. Did that answer your question?
And also soon it will be possible to export pictures.
Yeah, okay. With the next release, you will also be able to send and transfer pictures directly from magicplan to Xactimate.
Which was also a request that we got a lot during the last live with Ben, where we talked about Xactimate specifically. Yeah. Okay, then we have here someone say hi there. Then we have another question. Why should I use magicplan instead of Cubicasa?
Why should you use magicplan instead of Cubicasa? I've highlighted it a couple of times. I mean, to me, it has incredible value of being able to check and edit the data on site while you're still there. And that's kind of like my key advantage, not for Cubicasa or whomever, but like that's the key advantage I just like while using magicplan. I basically am in the lead, know, and can edit the stuff while I am on site. And I think for the purposes I know, the most annoying thing is if you have to come back, or also if you just mentally have to kind of like re-enter your state of mind of while you're there. I mean, when you see and your device sees everything around you, you can basically check off your mental list, and then you're done, and then you can forget about it or do whatever the next step is. So that is why I like magicplan, and that is also what we kind of like firmly believe it optimized for. That is something that we mentioned. You get it right while you're there in real time. No need to worry later. No need to wait.
And also, Chris, you can give it a try because you can try the app for free. And we hope you're happy afterward. And still, if you have questions, we're always available. You can contact us at support@magicplan.app. So give it a try. Try it yourself. Try the scanner. Try the features that we also talked about today. And then you can decide, or also let us know if you're happy. Okay, so 3 Ferrets Studio says, okay, it was about transfer of data, talking about the Xactimate feature or API. Say thank you.
Yeah, constantly tested. Technically, I mean, obviously we say it should be right, but again, constantly tested. We do it in-house If you run into something, please let us know. But overall, pictures too, yes.
Pictures are coming. Okay, so Chris, thank you. You're welcome. We'll try it. Will there also be 3D models in color, Andreas?
I mean, that's what I mentioned. You are free to upload 3D models also in color. That is not something that we currently optimize for, because we just don't. If you want to upload 3D models in color in the object manager, your own objects, you can do so. That is not currently on our roadmap that we add 3D models in color.
Let me show you quickly, because I have something in color in my objects. So if you upload your own SVGs or OBJ files in colors, you can also see the symbol of my list is a snowman, which is colored. And then you can add, for example, chairs. Voila. I mean, they're brown, but still, they're colored. Okay, perfect. Then I would say, if we have no other questions, our 30 minutes live is over. Andreas, thank you so much for your time, and thank you guys for being here with us. And we will see each other next time.
Thank you for listening in. Hope it was helpful. Please also, if you have something coming up, share with us. Thank you, Sylvie, for organizing and posting.
No problem. You're welcome. Bye.